So I thought maybe that would allow time to wean the baby away from a birth mother if a surrogate was used.
Ever notice how some rumors just refuse to stay buried? No matter how much money, power, or PR spin gets thrown at them, they claw their way back into the spotlight like they've got unfinished business. That's exactly what's happening in Meghan Markle's world. A story that once seemed like fringe internet chatter is now bursting into full view. And at the center of it all is a woman stepping forward with an explosive claim that she carried baby Archie. And what she's revealing? It could unravel everything Meghan and Harry have tried to build outside the palace walls.
The reason I didn't think it was AI is because it looks like the stomach is fake, where the baby, I swear.
Now, here's where things take a strange turn. Meghan, known for firing back at the press, correcting narratives, and fiercely protecting her image, has gone completely radio silent. No tweets, no press releases, no lawsuits, not even a subtle quote in a stylized Instagram post, just silence. And for someone as media savvy and outspoken as Meghan, that's not just unusual, that's unsettling. Because if she's choosing not to speak, it might mean the rumor is hitting a nerve that's too risky to touch. Let's rewind for a minute. Back when Meghan first announced her pregnancy, it was treated like a fairy tale moment. The first American royal mom-to-be, a fresh chapter for the monarchy. But even in those early days, things felt off. There were no traditional hospital steps photos, no glowing interviews, and no glimpses of Archie in the usual royal fashion. Instead, the public got a blurry photo and whispers about uncharacteristic secrecy. And then the internet did what it does best.
But instead of lying to the world, why not just say, we want a baby, we're having a baby, and we're using a surrogate?
It started digging. Videos began circulating, showing Meghan at events with a baby bump that seemed to shift shape depending on the angle or activity. In one clip, the belly appeared to collapse oddly as she bent down. In another, it moved with an unnatural bounce. That's when the whispers became a theory, and the theory became a movement. People began tossing around the word moon bump, a silicone belly used in film and theater productions. Could it be that Meghan never carried Archie herself? The theory gained steam when a strange revision was made to Archie's birth certificate. Meghan's full name was removed, replaced only with her royal title. That minor change set off a domino effect of suspicion. Why the formality? Why the cloak-and-dagger approach to something as basic as a birth record? Then Meghan's estranged family, never ones to stay quiet, jumped into the fray. Samantha Markle, her half-sister, claimed that their father had been informed about egg preservation and surrogacy plans long before Archie's arrival. And she wasn't throwing out vague hints, she was making direct accusations. Her half-brother went even further, uploading a bizarre video of himself in a fake baby bump and tiara, clearly mocking the pregnancy in a way meant to humiliate Meghan. Suddenly, this wasn't just about rumors, it was about credibility, and the cracks were beginning to show. That's when things took a hard left. Reports began to surface about a woman, allegedly the real surrogate, who had finally decided she'd had enough. According to insiders, she was initially paid off to stay silent, promised anonymity, respect, even legal protection. But then, she says she was discarded, forgotten. And now, she's reportedly leaking small pieces of information. She claims she was there, that she knows things. And most chilling of all, she says she has receipts. What kind of receipts? Allegedly, she's mentioning names, citing dates, hints about emails or audio recordings, maybe even documentation. If she's bluffing, it's a dangerous game. But if she's got evidence, Meghan's entire public image could go down in flames, and take Harry with it. So again, the question, why hasn't Meghan responded? This is the same woman who sued tabloids over privacy breaches. The same woman who published a deeply personal op-ed in the New York Times. To speak about miscarriage, she's known for speaking up. And yet, this time, she's vanished from the conversation. That silence is screaming louder than any statement ever could. Insiders say behind closed doors, Meghan is livid. She feels betrayed that something so private, so close to the heart, is now a media circus. Some say she's blaming Harry for not stepping in harder. Others claim she's feeling the sting of losing control of the story she worked so hard to shape. Because for Meghan, control has always been key. She built her brand on being relatable, composed, and authentic. But now, she's being accused of staging one of the most intimate milestones in a woman's life, giving birth. That's not just a PR crisis. That's a full-scale identity quake. You can't spin your way out of that. You either confront it or it consumes you. Word is, Meghan's camp has explored every option. Deny it? Risk stirring the pot even more? Sue could backfire and make it seem like there's something to hide. Provide proof. That opens a different can of worms. Every route seems to lead to disaster, so for now, she's paralyzed watching the story grow legs of its own. But she hasn't completely disappeared. Here and there, she's dropped subtle hints. A throwback photo from Mother's Day. A video of her dancing supposedly during her third trimester. But rather than quelling the speculation, those clips were dissected, slowed down, zoomed in. Critics said the bump looked staged. Others said it didn't move naturally. And rather than clearing her name, it only fueled more theories. Meanwhile, whispers from inside Buckingham Palace suggest that this drama is more than just tabloid fodder. It could be a constitutional nightmare. Because if there's any truth to the idea that Meghan and Harry misled the public and the crown about Archie's birth, it puts the monarchy itself under scrutiny. Royal succession is based on heritage, bloodlines, and any tampering with that, well, that's a far bigger problem than bad press. Apparently, some royal advisors are urging the Sussexes to address the situation head-on. Not for their own reputations, but for the sake of the institution. Because if the public loses faith in the legitimacy of a royal child, the entire foundation starts to look shaky. And what about Harry in all this? The once dashing prince who gave up his titles for love now looks like a man caught in the middle of a storm he can't contain. Did he know? Was he part of it? Or is he discovering the truth just like the rest of us? Either way, his silence is raising eyebrows. If he was involved, the fallout will be brutal. If he wasn't, it raises serious questions about trust in their marriage. Asterisk. Let's not forget Tat. The center of this chaos is a child. Archie didn't ask for this. He's innocent. But how his story was presented to the world and how it's being re-examined now could shape how people view him for the rest of his life. And that woman, the one making these claims, she hasn't gone fully public yet. But the threat hangs heavy. One press conference, one interview, one email leak. That's all it would take to blow this wide open. And if she truly has receipts, Meghan and Harry may be staring down a storm that no amount of Hollywood clout can weather. What's making this worse is that both Meghan and Harry were once champions of speaking their truth. That was their brand, their identity. But now that a truth is being whispered that doesn't fit their script, they've gone quiet. And that silence, it's damaging them by the day. What once made Meghan powerful, her ability to look polished, God and collected, is now working against her. The more perfect she appeared back then, the more people wonder what was staged. That's the double-edged sword of building a life so carefully filtered. People eventually ask what got left on the cutting room floor. Meanwhile, the internet is in overdrive. Reddit threads are building timelines. YouTube videos are comparing baby bumps. Social media sleuths are pulling clips from interviews, looking for inconsistencies. Body language tells anything. It's not just speculation anymore, it's an online investigation with thousands of self-declared detectives. This has moved past scandal. It's veering into legacy territory. Meghan and Harry sold themselves as rebels with a purpose, as truth-tellers fighting an outdated institution. But if it turns out they were hiding something this massive, that purpose, that brand at all, implodes. And once trust is broken, especially in the public eye, it's nearly impossible to repair right now. We're standing at the edge of what could be a royal reckoning. The woman claiming to be the surrogate could go public any day. Or she could stay quiet and let the speculation keep simmering. Either way, Meghan and Harry are no longer steering the wheel. And if Meghan believes that staying silent will make this go away, she's gravely misjudging the public. The internet doesn't forgive. The media doesn't forget. And the longer this hangs unresolved, the more it cements itself into the story of who Meghan Markle is. This is bigger than a PR crisis. It's a question of legacy, a test of character, and it could very well decide how history remembers them, not as pioneers, but as illusionists. Because when the truth finally knocks, you don't get to pick the timing. You just have to answer. The door, and behind the curtain, the panic is reportedly mounting. Sources say Meghan's team is scrambling, calling in legal counsel, reevaluating contracts, digging up archived files that could either prove or disprove the surrogate's claims. This isn't just about saving face anymore. It's about preparing for possible courtroom battles, media exposes, and the kind of fallout that could leave permanent scars on everything they've built. And yet, despite all that, no official move has been made. No press conference, no interview, no damage control tours. Industry insiders are whispering that brands who once saw Meghan as the ultimate ambassador for modern womanhood are now quietly distancing themselves. Deals are being put on pause. Scheduled launches delayed. When your image is built on trust and authenticity, even the faintest shadow of dishonesty is enough to make corporate sponsors disappear. And the sad truth? The longer this stretches on, the more it looks like something worth hiding. The couple's inner circle is reportedly shrinking too. Some of their closest allies are said to be growing uneasy, When people begin asking if they've been complicit, enlivened unknowingly, they start pulling back. Relationships they once relied on are now fraying. The power couple image they curated is showing cracks not just in the public eye, but behind closed doors as well. Because when a story like this begins to unravel, nobody wants to go down with the ship. And that raises the question, where does this end? Let's say the surrogate does come forward and drops undeniable proof. Meghan and Harry will be forced into damage control mode like never before. They'll have to issue statements, offer explanations, possibly even sit for a grueling interview. But by then, it might be too late. Once the public feels betrayed, once they believe they've been sold a fantasy, regaining their trust becomes a near impossible uphill battle. But here's the most devastating part of all: Archie's name is now tied to controversy through no fault of his own. For the rest of his life, this cloud may follow him. Every birthday photo, every public appearance, every school milestone, people will whisper, is he really hers? Was that story ever true? And it won't just affect Archie. If Meghan and Harry plan to grow their family further or elevate their public work, everything will be viewed through this distorted lens. The damage isn't isolated to their personal lives either. Politically, culturally, and even within Hollywood, the tide is turning. Meghan once represented a progressive shift in royal tradition, a woman of color, an outsider, a voice for change. But if this scandal sticks, it threatens to overshadow every cause she's ever championed. It morphs her from a symbol of empowerment into a cautionary tale about the dangers of overmanaging your image. And that's the bitter irony, isn't it? In a bid to control the story, Meghan may have handed over the pen, because the truth, whatever it may be, has a way of clawing its way to the surface. And when it does, it doesn't just demand attention, it demands answers. Whether they come or not, the world is no longer waiting.